multiple solutions and multiple professionals like yourself. So if there's a way to help, I'd be happy to.
Oh, I appreciate that offer. Yeah, it's been something that I'm in, let's see, 2 more classes. I'll be done with my online MBA, which focused on HR as well. And school's starting to reach out. They say, now you're close to graduating. And I said, I'm unique here. I'm an older student. I have all my HR certifications, the PHR, SPHR, etc. And I'm not moving. So go ahead. Help me.
Right.
I dare you. And the remote jobs I've looked at, they were kidding. It was from oh no, you got to live in, one said Chicago, Dallas, or Maryland. And I said, the entire state. Maryland's kind of big. Then the others are saying remote. One just said that you must be in the Eastern time zone. And I said, they're like, it's an hour. What?
Yeah, what difference does that make?
Yeah, I was like, it's an hour. So that's the stuff that I'm not opposed to remote. I just need it to be legit.
Oh, absolutely. I'm putting my information in the chat for you.
All right.
Before Brandy gets started.
Well, she's probably waiting for us to stop.
I bet she's waiting on
Good, all good. It takes a few minutes for people to join. I'm glad you guys are using the time.
You know us, Brandy. We're not wasting any time.
Yeah, you're gonna see today that's good. That's a good thing for my discipline. That's music to my ears.
Good. Okay, there you go, Julie.
Got it. Thank you.
Please do if I can help. I can
Appreciate
maybe even put Brandy down as a recommendation. I don't know. We'll ask her. Yeah.
She'll say, run away, run away.
Don't get hooked up with him.
No, from me.
Oh.
Though, you did say I could beat people abruptly about the head and shoulders. So already there, I like it.
It works down here in Texas. We still do that. Yeah.
My favorite Texas expression is the boy needed killing. That is such a perfect expression.
Hey, and with 3 daughters, we do that. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I have no hesitation with that kind.
I know. I lived in Houston for 4.5 years. I'm like, that expression is going to stay.
Oh, yeah. We at least give them a discussion first. Let's call it.
Yes.
A chat. Have a chat.
A chat.
You know how that works, don't you?
Yeah.
I bet you as an HR professional could even write that up where it's never found.
Exactly. That's the thing. And I know people. If you ever hear me talking about pig farmers, be very afraid because see,
Can be lost.
That's the service I offer
I'm sorry,
to HR.
we drifted today. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Let's get started. Today we're talking about discipline. Are you guys able to see my screen? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yay. All right. So discipline is only found in a person's top 5 strength capacity 7% of the time. So it is one of the most rare strengths that you will get exposure to. And it falls into the purple, which is the executing leader, Gallup leadership domain. And most of what this strength is motivated by is definitely has to do with getting the job done well, getting the job done without mistakes, and figuring out how to get things done in a streamlined manner. And on the strength zone, I feel like it kind of falls into 2 of these, actually. I feel like it falls into not only the evaluation, which is where we have it right now, but I also feel like it falls into the organization strength zone as well. Okay. And let me click on here are the traits. So when you think of discipline, you can think of a planner, someone who's very organized. One of the unique things about discipline is they hate surprises. And I've had people ask me, well, don't you like good surprises? And as a disciplined personality, you're like, no, I don't like any surprises. I like to know what's happening. I've had good surprises in my life, but it takes discipline like a minute to recalibrate because that wasn't the plan. So they really, really don't prefer surprises. Actually, they schedule everything. They're very, the way they're wired is they go, okay, if I have to get something done, then I'm going to back into it and I'm going to figure out how much time is needed for everything. And then I'm going to put it on a calendar and a schedule. And then I'm going to make sure everybody is meeting, at the times that need to be meted. And we're making sure that we get things done. And it's very close to responsibility in some ways. They're actually paired together most often. Discipline's highest pairing is responsibility. However, when you look at responsibility in detail, it says that they deliver on time with high quality, whereas discipline always deliver ahead of time with high quality. They really, really don't like to feel behind or like they're missing deadlines, and they feel a lot of anxiety when the deadline is really close. So they'll actually work more to get that, to ensure the deadline, you get something done a week before the deadline. And then what ends up happening sometimes in that situation is a manager will be like, oh, you're done, so here's another thing, which is wrong because the discipline probably worked double the amount of time to try to get that done ahead of time versus, when it was actually due. And so they're probably going to need a break to just recover, catch their breath, get some other things done, and then they can, start the new tasks. So I know that I've seen that be a consistent problem for disciplined personalities is they're complaining like, I just got this done ahead of time and now they're piling more stuff on me and I haven't had time to catch my breath. So very time oriented. They are also process oriented. They set up structures, methodologies, processes, frameworks, systems, and all of that is to create efficiencies, and it's to, streamline, centralize, save money, save cost. They hate waste. So it's to get rid of any kind of waste that they're identifying. And they really don't adapt well to change. They set up the schedule, they set up the plan, and they find it easy to follow it and be very disciplined and stick to it. So it's hard for them when, unknown changes pop up, last minute requests that weren't expected, things that cause them to go, okay, now I have to review and revamp the entire plan and schedule again to make sure that we don't, miss the deadlines again. Any questions, thoughts? Keep going. Okay. So discipline is found with responsibility 42% of the time in a top 5 capacity. And it is never found with ideation. If someone has discipline ideation, we want to meet them because that is a very, very rare pairing. Discipline is extremely structured. Ideation is extremely unstructured, unconventional, and creative. So as you can imagine, when discipline is paired with those high achieving type strengths like achiever, competition, consistency, deliberative, focus, then the discipline becomes even more intensified than it is by itself. Discipline is one of those strengths that intensifies anything that it's paired up with, because now, for example, rather than having harmony, you have disciplined harmony, or, you don't just have context, you have disciplined context. So it's one of those that just intensifies things all over the map, but there are certain ones that actually intensify it as well. Okay. And maximizer is one of those as well. Where it doesn't do its best work is with anything that is spontaneous, go with the flow, super flexible, non-structured, unconventional, doesn't follow procedures, isn't logical, like any of those types of personality traits. It's just hard for them to understand them. what I do find interesting is, although I have discipline as an adaptability as a disconnector here, I think an adaptability type personality is actually could be good for someone that's high discipline in a relationships sitting, because the discipline is going to have the structure and want to, say this is what we do. And the adaptability might be actually quite adaptable to that and go with it. And, not really care that there's a structure. It's okay. I think where it gets hairy is if the discipline is imposing that structure on the other person too much. And if the other person really doesn't want, that much structure in their life. And then when you have consistency plus achiever, it also looks like discipline. So you might meet someone and think, oh, they got high discipline, when in reality they have two strengths that start looking like high discipline. And then the discipline work well with other achievers. Arrangers are interesting because they're also organized like discipline, but they're flexibly organized. So they kind of have that, we understand each other, but there's also enough of a differentiation. Because if you get two disciplines together, good Lord, right? If they aren't on the same page, then it could really be, here's my plan and my structure, here's my plan and my structure. And that could go wrong. But also one of the people that I'm thinking about that I worked with really, really well had high discipline like me, but we were both building the same structures and systems. And so we were able to both bounce our ideas off of one another, and we moved really fast together. He was also an achiever discipline. And because we thought so much alike and had a lot of synergy, we were able to agree on what needed to be built and build it really, really fast together. So that was actually really fun when we were on the same page. Okay. Does anybody else have discipline on this call? I saw a couple of you put in the chat that you don't. Stacy, what about you? Do you have high discipline?
It's number 10 for me. So
okay, so it's pretty high for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything of what I'm saying resonating with you?
Yeah, I'm one of those type of personalities anyway, with deliberative as my first. So it kind of falls in line too with some of that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and I've got responsibility high. So like you were saying, it looks like that a lot too. So.
Gotcha. Okay.
So Brandy, quick question.
Yep.
If I recall, which you probably know, I think Wendy on our team has discipline. That's one of our top 5.
Mm-hmm.
When you were talking about once they complete, if they complete early, they need time to recharge, whatever. How much time is that a day? Is that a week?
Probably just depends on the person, and it probably just depends how much extra they put in. So the way I would think about it is, okay, a normal week is, 35, 40-hour week. That feels good to us, right? We all can handle that. So if she put in an extra 5 hours or 10 hours or 15 or 20 hours to get something done ahead of time, it's just to be really conscious that happened. And so then you go, look, let me give you that time back, that 5 hours, that 10 hours, that 15 hours, because they gave it to you ahead of time instead of on time. And so then it's only fair that you say, look, take some time to recover and recharge and just go get other stuff done, because they probably neglected other things while they were getting your stuff done. So it probably depends on the project and how much extra time they had to put in to get it done ahead of time. And also just their personality type. They might recover quickly, or they might take a hot minute to recover.
But it would be rare for them to be behind schedule.
Very, very rare. And if they are stressed out to the max. Like I was completing these discipline slides this morning, not good, right? I mean, it's like my heart is palpitating. It's just, and I even know I'm going to get it done, but it still is just like, it's just a horrible feeling. But I was just too tired to finish them last night. So I had to wait till this morning. But we don't like that. I mean, I would have liked to have these slides done last Friday, in preparation for Monday, not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay, that's helpful.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't even cover that slide. Let's go back. Okay, so this is when discipline become demotivated and disengaged, when there's a lack of structure, when the situation is absolutely chaotic, people aren't staying on task, there's a bunch of errors and mistakes happening, the procedures aren't clear, expectations aren't clear, time and money is being wasted, there's disorder, disorganization. They really feel out of control when all of these things are going on. Deadlines and timelines aren't getting met. They're not able to complete things ahead of schedule. There's too much spontaneity, not enough routine plans, et cetera, et cetera. And so, of course, on the opposite side, they're most motivated when things can get planned, when things are efficient, when they're able to prioritize, when the distractions are low, they're able to stay on track and get things done ahead of time. When they know what's coming, they know what to expect, there's no surprises. They're really good also, by the way, at taking something and, like I said, kind of backing into it and breaking down a long-term initiative into short-term chunks that they schedule in order to get that done. So as you can imagine, they're good as project managers because they just naturally do what project managers are supposed to be doing, getting things done ahead of time with low cost, on budget, with high quality. So that's a natural fit for them. It's funny though, I don't like project management. I am very happy to do it if I'm allowed to do it through a system, if I'm allowed to systemize it so everybody can do their own work and keep track of their own stuff and know when they're supposed to do stuff on their own. But I don't like the babysitting hand-holding thing. And some discipline don't mind checking in and just keeping everybody on task. And I did do that with my data scientists because they just needed it. And I just had to, meet with them and say, okay, tell me what you've been working on and I'll enter your hours. So I will do it, but it's not something that I love doing. Okay, so I have heard all these things, so I just slapped them down as bullets about, being too picky and too, structured and inflexible and rigid or overbearing, or I'm too, systematic, or my standards are too high, and, just all the things, because, discipline is not a relationship building strength. It is an execution strength. It does very well in high execution environments. But if a discipline tries to impose their structure on people, it can go really, really bad. And it's so funny because I've had people come to me and say, you're so organized. Will you help me get organized? I'd love for you to share your level of organization with me. And I'm like, or your discipline. And I'll tell them, no, you don't, because this is what it's going to take. And I'll lay it out for them. They're like, I don't want to do that. You're like, no, you don't want to do this. Now we can try to find something that works for you, but no, you don't want, my way of doing it or my systems, because it just doesn't work for most people unless they're wired this way naturally. Okay, but what we do here in those high execution environments is how productive we are, how good we are at saving costs and creating accuracy. And, we create models and systems that produce, fantastic results that are error-free, mistake-free, and that are extremely efficient and help people do their jobs and take care of all the administrative things, without having to have a human involved. What we like being acknowledged for is just that, being disciplined, being organized, preventing errors, creating those systems and processes. We really love it when we do that and people actually appreciate them. They work for people. I know for me, as I was doing process improvement work, I would get a lot of feedback from a lot of different types of people to try to create a system that worked for everyone. And I think partially that's also because I have consistency, which really cares about scaling and creating systems that everyone can use. So when we communicate, we're pretty detail oriented. We ask a lot of questions because we want to get the process laid out up front. We want to understand what's going to happen, how it's going to work. And it's really so that, again, we can back into, okay, if this is everything that needs to happen, these are the deadlines, then this is the plan. This is what we need to schedule things. This is what it's got to look like in order for us to achieve that. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it sounds a lot like focus. Focus and discipline are similar. Focus just has extreme focus and streamlines efficiencies toward a goal. It says, what's my overall big goal? And then it backs into it that way, where the discipline is just saying, okay, you know, what needs to get done, and let's schedule it. Focus doesn't have so much focus on a schedule, and it doesn't schedule things to create the efficiencies, but it will automate like discipline will to create those efficiencies. Focus just zones out and gets rid of all distractions and just beelines toward the goal. And so when you're talking to a discipline, these are some of the topics that are online, right? They want to talk about efficiencies. They want to talk about systems. They want to talk about how to save money and get rid of wastes. They love talking about structure and organization, routines, procedures. They appreciate it when someone is detail-oriented and precise in their communication. If someone's vague, it can be difficult for them, since they're so tangible and logical and sort of practical and tactical. It can be difficult to understand what someone is saying if it's not as detailed as what they're used to thinking like. Okay, so here's some icebreaker questions that you can ask them.
So are they perfectionists?
Absolutely. They are. They just strive for perfection. That's why they, sorry, I was reading Julie's, Julie, your quality assurance there, bullet number 6 on how to best has a word or so missing. It's like my anal retentiveness goes off. I'm like, I'll go back to it later. So yes, they're perfectionist. They strive for perfection. So for me, Brad, like, since I'm the highest discipline on here, I'll just continue to give my own examples today. But for me, it's not that I have to be perfect right there in the moment, but I'm going to get to perfect. And so like, if I'm building a mathematical model, I will always enhance it until it's perfect, until it relentlessly produces the correct, accurate result.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I don't like being wrong. And I've told my fitness class, I told them, I can't remember what we were talking about one time, but I told them, just tell me I'm perfect. Like, it is literally music to my ears to hear that I'm perfect, even though I know that's ridiculous and I know that's unachievable. But if you just tell me I'm perfect, I'm yours, you know? Okay. Sales and influences discipline. So what I found when I was writing this up is that where this really comes in handy on a sales and influencing side is actually on the pipeline side. You know, when you're trying to schedule, okay, how many people do I need to engage with? How many of those do I need to convert? How many meetings do I need to schedule so that that happens? And I was in sales for a while when I was in college, and that's exactly what I would do. I would get up at 7 a.m. I would make all my phone calls. I would make sure that if I told myself I need to call 20 people, that's who I was calling. And then I would make a certain number of appointments, and I would schedule all of that for the month because I knew that that would produce a certain result based on statistics. So I feel like the discipline part of the personality actually applies a little bit more to the planning piece of sales and influence rather than the actual sales and negotiation and influencing piece. And then they can also show the client the things like the improvement to the business, the efficiencies, the cost savings, all to show all that kind of value is very natural for a disciplined personality. And obviously, if you want to sell something to the discipline, you just show them how they can become more efficient. You can show them how it's going to streamline, cut costs, why this product is going to make their life easier or produce higher quality, and they'll be interested in what you're selling them. Okay, so in interviews, if the discipline person can really show the value of the organization they've created, the systems they've created, the things they've taken to scale, the costs that they have saved companies, the productivity gains, the errors and mistakes they've prevented. I've done that before. I've shown, look, these were the errors and mistakes that were occurring. This was the amount of time they were costing us. By creating these systems, we're now preventing them. They don't happen ever. And so we're saving this much a month or a year. It's really easy for discipline to show those types of things. Okay, so if you're working or talking to somebody, you can just kind of observe, do they like to plan? Are they a bit inflexible? Do they seem kind of strict? Are they very structured and detail oriented? These are all indicators that maybe they have discipline as a top 5 strength. And then I've listed a bunch of words that are music to their ears down here, or at least perk their ears up. Okay, so if you do have discipline, here are some considerations. Because you are so process oriented, you may unyieldingly impose your processes on others. Discipline is an executing strength, not a relationship building strength. So refrain from imposing your discipline on others and do not expect them to be as disciplined as you. When working with people, focus on their results rather than their process. And I'd also like to just slip in here that, like, for example, I teach fitness classes in the evenings. I show up every time I can, and then I work out and I execute for an hour straight. And I hold the level of discipline, you could say, for the class, saying, this is what we're going to do. This is how hard we're going to work the whole time. And it's me driving that discipline for the people. And it happens to work in that environment because people come to that environment asking for me to be that disciplined. They need my discipline and they want it. And so that's an example of like where you can impose the discipline, but it's actually asked for. Impose it on people when it's asked for. You could be perceived as rigid, compulsive, meticulous, or controlling. Show people that your insistence on following a plan drives results. Due to your structured nature, you may have trouble responding to last-minute requests and changes. Proactively schedule gaps on your calendar to address the spontaneous, immediate needs that come up. Yes, I schedule my spontaneous time. Be mindful of how much structure you put in place and how much creativity and customization your systems enable. It's easy to overlook for disciplined people to squelch the creativity, innovation, and customization. Always continue to proactively ask for feedback and obtain additional insights and ideas that broaden your framework so they don't become stifling to others. Recognize that mistakes might depress you since precision is part of your core. However, you could look at mistakes and errors as an opportunity to improve the system. You may get offended or irritated when someone does not show up on time, but consider that not everyone values time the way you do, and they do not see it necessary to show up earlier on time. Find something meaningful to do with the time that you've just gained back. Create some space to be creative and fun. Consider blocking time on your calendar to do something you love or be spontaneous. Your detailed level of planning may feel like overkill to some people. Explain your intent. Explain that your intent is to get everything planned up front so that there are no surprises, everyone's aligned, and everyone knows what to expect moving forward. Brad, I actually wrote that bullet point because of our meeting yesterday, because I thought I sure did ask a lot of details to get that planned, sorted out. I'm like, let me explain to him why.
Now we know you're perfect.
Oh my gosh, I love your individualization. Expect spontaneous changes and last minute requests. Set up processes to help yourself manage them. Stacy, does any of that settle well with you?
Yeah, it all really does.
Good.
I've also got consistency high.
Oh, like me. Yeah, I'm high
Yeah.
consistency, deliberative, and discipline as well, and achiever. Yeah. Okay, so we feel each other's pain.
For sure.
Okay, so from a collaboration standpoint, we just bring all these things to the team, right? We say, look, we can help the team stay on track. We can create some systems and processes and procedures. We can schedule meetings for people. We can bring in organization. We can centralize things so people can find them. We can create shared calendars. We can reduce wastes and time and money. So, just to offer these natural talents of ours to the team could be really helpful. When you are collaborating with us, be timely, honor the deadlines. We take them seriously, so we want you to as well. You can ask us to plan and schedule. That's in our nature to do anyway. You definitely want to refrain from surprising us. And we are good at prioritization. So if you need help prioritizing something, that's a good place for us. Get us involved in documenting things, and keeping projects on track, organizational type things we love to help with. A lot of the things I just mentioned, you just want to engage us in those things. And whenever you're working with a disciplined personality, you do want to help them feel like they're in control. They don't like feeling out of control. They don't like feeling like the control is taken from them. I would think that most people like a sense of control, but I guess discipline is a little bit more, needs a little bit more. I just like to call that autonomous. Okay. So the things that you can partner with other strengths with is going to be around why you'd partner with them to get things done ahead of time, to create that level of organization, to scale things. Maybe you need like a commander or communication person to help influence people to get on your new systems that you created. That's really helpful. Developer is also helpful because it could coach people onto the new processes, procedures, and systems that are implemented. Empathy, we need to consider people's feelings when we're implementing new processes and systems. Ideation, to make sure that we're not leaving out that creativity, innovation piece. Includer, making sure everyone has been considered. I find input really helpful when we're creating things because they're happy to give their input. Okay. This is the slide I had the hardest time with. So if you guys have any input, please tell me, but I feel like discipline is just really not a relationship building strength. So it was very difficult for me to think about how I have used this effectively in relationships. I've definitely been able to bring a level of organization to the partnership, help expectations be clarified up front, set up the time to make sure that the priorities are being met. So like if family time is really important, then I make sure and get that on the calendar. I was definitely the person in a partnership that looked at the time and the money and making sure that we weren't wasting stuff and using it wisely. Refraining from imposing our level of discipline on our partner is very important if we're going to maintain those partnerships. And then refrain from taking out our irritation with unexpected changes, last minute requests, disorganization, errors, and mistakes out on the partner, because it's usually not our partner's fault. It's something to do with the system or the process that can be resolved. I should put here, or have a sense of humor about it.
So if I hear that last one right, that means theoretically, if you're yelling at me, it may not necessarily be me you're yelling.
Yeah. Yeah, because the irritation really isn't with the person, it's with the error, but by the way, I don't yell. Error, mistakes, changes, unexpected stuff. It's weird. It just creates a sense of instability within the person. And so they get flustered. And it's like, I don't know what to do. I mean, the whole system now has to be revamped. The whole schedule has to be revamped. You know, it's like this unexpected curveball. Of course, as we mature, we get better at dealing with those, and we plan for those things. And when they come up, we know how to deal with them because we have systems and processes that we tap into when those things happen. But when you're younger and you have this, you don't really know how to do that yet.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys feel like, have you had a relationship or an interaction with a disciplined person that you thought, oh, that was actually really great? I'm glad that they were so structured or had that discipline. Anything I should add here? Nope.
Usually when I work with perfectionists, I just let them run.
Yeah. Yeah, because you know they're hard on themselves, right?
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why it's hard not to say, can you just relax? Just because you can see that stress level, which when used, any strength overused, of course, becomes that weakness. But there's so much value in having a discipline on your team and around you.
Yep. And telling them to relax makes it worse. It doesn't make it better. So, yeah.
Yep.
What makes it better is actually getting the organization in place and having it's almost like they have their nest around them, right? It's like everything's in its place and they just feel safe and at home. Okay. So when your partner has discipline as a strength, helping them clear distractions, helping them be efficient, allowing them to plan and going with the plan, being a little bit detailed, bringing some level of detail or organization to the interactions is helpful. Again, refrain from making those last minute requests or throwing curveballs or spontaneously just throwing a wrench. Like, I've just got to give this example. I remember at one point I was at the gym and I heard from someone at the gym that I was going to have company for the next 3 months in my house. A couple was staying with us. So I called my husband at the time. I said, do we have guests? Oh yeah. These guys are coming to stay with us. I said, for how long? Well, 3 months, the whole summer. I'm like, you didn't tell me? And in my mind, I'm going, I don't even have the bed sheets clean in the guest room. And then my brain goes, and we need to do this and this and this and this, and it's like, and I work from home. You don't, but I do, so it's like, this is crazy. And of course I'm happy to host them and have them. I just would have liked a little forewarning about it. Let's see what else is on this list. So you can imagine how I felt a little out of control in that situation.
That would have made me insane. There's no way that could have happened in my life.
For the first week you're at this hotel, then.
Exactly.
Well, I have a large home. I have plenty of rooms. I knew they were good friends of ours. It was fine, but I would have liked to have known that they were showing up that night, Let's see.
That's where we learn. As husbands, we learn.
But as your husband, I would think he would know you need to know stuff like that. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Well, Stacy, we are divorced.
Yeah.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, I don't think he was too keen on learning about me. Yeah. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be saying this on a recording, but it's just too funny. Let's hope to God he never listens to it. He probably won't ever listen to discipline. But after we were, getting the divorce, all that stuff, at some point in there, he brought some chocolates to, some sort of peace offering, I guess, right? And it was not the chocolate I like at all. It was like, and it was just like the steak in the coffin, I'm like, after 10 years, you don't even know what kind of chocolate I like.
It was just the confirmation of it all.
And it was
the confirmation
like,
offering.
Details.
That would not be a good exhibit A. But
It was hilarious. I just died laughing about it. I was just like, this is crazy.
yeah.
Like, thanks for the chocolate I can't eat.
You can take it back to the gas station.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, you know me, I'm such an efficiency person. I just repurposed it and gave it to someone else I knew would like it. So
Hilarious.
I know, it is so funny. Okay, where were we? When your partner has discipline, anything else that we should note, Stacy, for anyone listening to this? Oh, put things back where you found them, right? That's a good one, because for discipline, everything has its place. And we're happy to take your feedback in and say, you don't like it here. And we go, oh, okay, well, I liked it here. You don't like it here, but we can put it somewhere. But as long as we agree to where it's going to go, and then it's there when we go looking for it, then we're good.
So just a quick note to myself, what kind of chocolates do you like?
Oh, I like Dove dark chocolate.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Dove dark chocolate. I don't, what he got me though was like the 90% stuff that tastes like dirt, you know, the like super dark. I'm like, no, I just need like Dove dark chocolate, just the regular dark chocolate. And then somebody got me as just a friendship gift this year, like somebody got me some homemade chocolates from some place here in Texas. Those were phenomenal. And he gave me way too many because I just pounded them down. They were so good. I'll have to get the place for you, Brad, because I know you like giving people meaningful gifts, and they were out. It was outstanding. The little chocolates that came out of that box.
I just want to make sure the ones you like.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Apparently it's important.
I listen.
I appreciate that. All right, let's keep going here.
I know that this is always fun, but this is also that perfect example. What are the strengths? What do you need? What can I give you? How can you feed me? And that's what's going to make the world go round. Not just you have to be this way because I'm this way. So perfect example of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I think just let's go back to philosophy here for a minute. I think a lot of people have their relationship philosophy backwards. I think a lot of people look at relationships and getting involved and engaged in a relationship, whether it's a partnership or relationship, whatever, is what can I get out of it? And I think that if more people could come around to, I'm getting engaged, involved in this because I want to give something to this. I feel good about providing something for this. And I think that really flips the whole relationship, because especially if you have two people doing that, because then you have two people just really trying to understand one another, trying to, you don't want to lose yourself, but you do want to accommodate if it works for the other person and it's not a burden for you. You want to find those places where you can do that. I know there's some places where we are just unwilling to give up ourselves, who we are, what we're like around those things, but it doesn't mean we have to do that for everything. It can be like, look, I'm willing to compromise on this. I'm happy to do whatever you want on this, but on these things, I really need us to do it the way I want to, or we find a way that we can both do it the way we want to, but we're just not doing it together at that point. Now, if you have too much of that, of course, you don't have a relationship at all, but
so interesting, because I've never been in a relationship with what can I get out of it. It's not how I operate. So that's interesting that.
Yeah, a lot of people,
they're
only getting into it to get what they can get out of it,
Wow.
And that just doesn't work
about relationships like that. If you're always thinking of someone else and you're with someone who's always thinking of you,
yes.
You don't even have to think of yourself anymore.
That's
it's just
right.
Constantly someone, someone else is doing it. You're just being giving all the time.
Yes.
It's so interesting. It's the best way to work if you can find someone that will take care of you the way you take care of them.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. You guys are spot on. And I just think there's a lot of people out there that have never thought about it that way or haven't realized that you got to find somebody you enjoy giving to, because that's what it's all about. You're going to be giving to them for the next 20 years of your life,
Right.
Okay. So if you are a parent with discipline, there's lots of things you can bring to the table because kids really need a lot of stability, and they need the schedules and they need the systems that helps them know what to expect, and it helps them operate successfully. And as a child, you want to feel like you're being successful. You can also teach them how to organize, how to prioritize, how to weigh your options, how to reduce your waste and the cost. And, these are things that you naturally do. So you're able to kind of teach some of those educational things to your kids so that they've learned it somewhere. And then if you have a disciplined child, it's really important to understand that things go where they go, and deadlines are important to them, and they want to stay on task and on schedule, and they want resources to do that. I have had a planner since I was 10 or 11 years old, you guys. And I've been using one and honing in on the perfection of using one for that long. And so your children that are disciplined are going to want those types of tools because that's the way their brain works. I added a new slide today. I thought we haven't talked about what if your parent has a certain strength, especially as an adult, when we're trying to work with our parents through all the phases of life. So I listed here some of the things I thought if your parent has discipline that you might be able to do for your parent to help him or her be at their best. So this is kind of like that parent who loves to schedule the events and likes everybody to be ahead of time or on time, needs someone to respect where things go in the house, or the processes and plans and things they've set up. They want them to be honored and respected instead of, like always throwing a bomb and just going, oh, by the way, I'm bringing so-and-so, or, oh, by the way, this isn't happening, or, those last minute changes and stuff like that. It doesn't work well for those parents.
Kind of like, oh, by the way, we're moving in for the next 3 months.
Yeah, I made it work, but sheesh, that was
Don't do that to your parents.
Quick recalibration. Yeah. And it's interesting because I made it work, but I wasn't comfortable with it. Okay. So if you are a leader, you can, bring in systems that help your teams do their work and be more efficient and drive high quality results. They're all going to feel great if that's the kind of systems that they're using. You can help people stay on task, or you can offer to edit and review things for errors, but you definitely need to be careful about this as a leader and not impose it, because they might see it as like you nitpicking or, being, micromanaging type stuff. So you gotta be aware of that. I think also as a discipline leader, you do have to set some expectations, if you have them, around the level of preparation or organization that you kind of expect from each individual. Because if you have that expectation and they are not doing that naturally, you could be frustrated with your team members. So it's, sometimes helpful to say, look, I'd really like it if you, do A, B, C, D, and E, so that they just know that that's something that's important to you. You're definitely going to have a focus on automation, time savings, cost savings with the team. So you might as well let them know that's a huge value up front. And I think that a leader like this should be leading teams that are all about implementing structures and routines. And, that way you're also managing people that are like yourself, and it's easier for them to understand where you're coming from. All right, if you have a disciplined colleague that you are managing, you want to be on time whenever you can. You want to avoid making those last minute requests. I've had an arranger manager who made last minute requests all the time to me, and I ended up blowing him off half the time because I had plans. I had things we'd already talked about and things in motion, and I had to really think through what he was asking. Was it important or not in the big picture? And if it was, he was actually my director, not my direct manager. But if the things he was asking for, last minute requests, were in my mind not the biggest priority, I just would, either not do them or get someone else to do it and say, hey, you like jumping on these fires, go jump on it. But I wasn't good with taking that kind of instruction. Okay, don't see anything else to notice.
On your last line,
Mm-hmm.
to get prepared, probably prepared.
Prepared. Oh, okay, good. Okay, thanks. Covered to get prepared. Yes, I will change that. Thank you. Okay. Let's say you now have a discipline manager, obviously to stay on track, get things done ahead of time, let them know about things. Be organized and prepared coming into meetings is going to be important. Being conscious of timelines and deadlines. If you can find cost savings and then show them what we can do, like the manager would just be like super happy about that. Advice on efficiencies that could happen. They just love driving those kinds of things as a leader. So those are all good conversations to have with him or her. Learning where the manager likes to store and retrieve things from and following the systems as much as possible will help that manager feel in control. Giving them heads up on things so they don't have any surprises is helpful. Okay. You have discipline, your manager does not. So, this is like, you may set up systems and processes and procedures and the manager might not follow them at all. They might not be attuned to timelines, deadlines. They might not show up on time. There's a lot of things in this situation where you just can't expect these things of them. Even if, you've gone to all this work and done it all, and maybe it helps half the team or a quarter of the team or, 80% of the team, but then the manager doesn't do it. So some of the team members don't do it. I mean, you can't help everybody if they're just not into what you're bringing to the table. So it's always good to find other things around the organization when you're in the situation to put your time and energy and effort into. So at least you feel like you're adding value somewhere. And then, of course, you're probably going to have to bring up all your talents. Like if they don't naturally see the things that you bring, you're going to have to say, look, I could organize this. I could help us keep on track for this. I could make a schedule for this. You kind of have to let your manager know those things if they're not seeing what you could bring to the table. And if they reject them, leave the team. Okay, effectively coach discipline clients. So this is, if I'm working with somebody as a coach and I have a disciplined personality, I want to make sure that I am organized. I've got, distractions cleared. I want to, check in on them regularly because they would do this for others. So they see that as a sign of care. I want to produce, material and resources to them that help them with streamlining, creating systems, setting up efficiencies. I want to help create opportunities for them or help them find opportunities where they can use this strength. I also, as a coach, need to help them find healthy ways to deal with their perfectionism mentality and sort of that rigidness or the fixed structured stuff, because life is definitely full of curveballs, surprises, and people staying at your house. So, you just have to help them understand how to create the systems, processes, and procedures internally to deal with those types of things when they happen. And then obviously as a discipline coach, I'm able to bring this line of structure to people's lives. I'm able to keep them on track, schedule, figure out what the end goal is, back into create a plan for them, help them achieve what they actually want to achieve. I think the hardest part as a discipline coach is that they don't follow the plan. And it's like, well, then why did I create the plan? If you're just not going to follow it, you know? And it's like, not having that natural influence to get them to want to, you know, follow the plan. It can be really difficult, because as a disciplined personality, you create the plan, you just follow it. You don't even question it. But then what I do in that situation is I go, okay, well, this obviously didn't work for you. So let's figure out another way that will work for you to get this done. And then we try again, and then we try again. And then hopefully at some point it goes, okay, click, this is a way that I can get this done, and they can get through the next step.
So a quick question.
Yep.
If you're in the middle of that situation, is that when you bring in your counterpart commander?
Well, so as a coach,
Maybe.
I need people to electively decide that this is important enough for them to do. So I feel like as a coach, no, because if it's not important enough for you to do, then it's not important enough for you to do. And that is a realization in itself. And you want someone to say, look, this is something that's really important to me. This is something I need to do. So I'm going to do it. Whereas a commander comes into play when you need something done, period. Right. I mean, it has to get done. This thing cannot slip through the cracks. And maybe you're commanding a whole cohort of people, maybe there's 50 people that all just need to be like an army, right? And you need to say, look, this is what we're all doing. And they just command, this is getting done. This is what we're doing. And it's like a really big, hard shove or push towards where we need to be at the end. And they're also really good at influencing and navigating people's difficult personalities to ensure that they stay on track and do exactly what they need to do. So I would say that's more in an environment where people don't love what they do and they really need to be, reined in and controlled. Or you just really need like a high level of command or control in a certain situation. For sure, a commander can help with that. So I think you have to consider the situation, the actual work that's being done, what you want someone to feel through that. Do they need to own it or do they not? Because a commander's not really going to let you own it necessarily. They're just going to say, do it and get it done. Do what I say. Versus, a different type of leader who's going, I want you to just have full autonomy and do it your way, but I want you to do it, which is more your approach, right? Brad is like really figuring out like, how do you want to do it? Or do you even want to do it? If you don't, you're like actually okay with them not doing it, where commander's kind of like, look, you got to do this. This is getting done one way or the other.
Okay. Didn't mean to get you off track. I would just.
No, you're not off track. We have plenty of time today. I'm already at the daily actions here, which is, the things that, you can either focus on doing throughout the week as a discipline, or even just look at a job and make sure the job is asking you to do these types of things. To make sure it's a good fit. Obviously, we want to be in the optimal area here where, people are going, you're so disciplined and planned and you're detailed and you produce error-free, mistake-free stuff. You've lowered our costs, all the good things. If we're being really excessive about the discipline, people might say you're really anal retentive, you're neurotic. I should put anal retentive there, you guys. That just looks so bad. Let me just fix that right now. Retentive, a little better, right? And rigid, inflexible, impatient, irritable, depressed. Let me address this depressed thing. When I do something wrong or it's not accurate or it's not right, I actually feel a bit depressed. It's kind of like, oh, like I hate doing things not well. I hate not getting it right. It's not a good feeling. And it doesn't mean I stay depressed for the week about it. It just means it just makes me a little sad. And then if you have somebody who doesn't have enough discipline in their life, then, they might be making mistakes or having errors or missing deadlines. It could be seen as unplanned, disorganized, inefficient, driving high cost, vague, non-structured. And then these are some of the jobs I've found that people with high discipline really enjoy. And actually, we should probably put that administrative assistant on here because they have it all the time. Or let's say executive. I guess that's how they're saying it, right? Executive assistant. They have really high discipline. I've done a workshop, and a lot of them had that.
Yeah.
And then here's a book that I could only think of one. I don't read many books on this. It's so natural to me. I just don't need to. But this one was good. Okay, thoughts, questions? What'd you guys think about this today?
Very good. Very good insights. Yes.
Good.
Very helpful.
And what I liked about it is, I think before today, if I was working with someone that was that high discipline, I would be concerned that it was being overused, that we were taking advantage of it. But now I'm hearing that, no, this is the happy part. This is where you don't have to worry about them being stressed or that their joy is in the discipline. And if you say, okay, go make this happen, that's fine. And they're never going to say, I don't want to do that anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they just absolutely love being disciplined. They love driving discipline. They love creating all these things, and they'll literally do it for hours. You know, it's just, it's like you said, it's a happy place for them.
Good.
Yeah. Stacy, anything from you?
I was just thinking how funny it is with the getting things done ahead of time. I'm someone who I need to be disciplined. Like I said, it's number 10, but deliberative is 1. And I will put a whole lot of effort into something to get myself ready for it to be done on the last day. Like I don't necessarily turn it in early, because I think I anticipate that whole, oh, I don't want to throw something else on my plate because I know I've got other stuff to do, but I will absolutely get everything into an order where on that last time or right before it's due, I don't have much left.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah. That's such an interesting thing that you actually get it all done except for the very last step.
Yeah. I want to be completely prepared and ready for it when it's done and I don't have much left, but I don't necessarily do it early. Completion, that is, anyway.
So
that might be.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that might have been something that's just been learned from getting it done and then having those surprises. But that the nice adjustment, and they're adapting to. It's going to drive you crazy if something does change. So just set aside that side so it doesn't drive you crazy.
Yeah, I think that's it too. I like to take my time to get the things done so that I can do it kind of on my own time, where if I feel like, okay, they know I'm already done, everything else is going to get thrown on my plate.
I was just going to say that. I bet it was more to do with the perception of other people, because if she gets it done, she's actually loves it to get off her plate, but then other people see that and they abuse that time.
They punish the talent.
You feel so punished because you got it done early and now they're putting more on your plate. And you're like, I can't breathe. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to breathe for sure.
So what I heard Stacy say is she gets it done early. She just doesn't turn it in early.
That's right.
Kind of true. Kind of true. Yeah.
So she gets it done early and it's turned in on time.
And it gives me some time too to be done with it and look at it and decide if I need to change something.
Right.
If I like it, if I'm
make sure that it's error-free, mistake-free, it's detailed. Yeah.
So that it's perfect.
So it's perfect.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so thank you guys for joining. Let me show you the schedule coming up here. Schedule. Randy. Meant to post this at the top, but oh well, we'll find it here. Okay. So next week, we're going to start our new series. We're going to have 2 people on the call, Yusur Khan and Rondia Graves, who both have ideation and positivity as a top 5 strength. The cool thing is they have other strengths around it. So I'm going to be asking questions. You guys are going to be asking questions. They're going to be sharing some thoughts and feedback about their strengths and how they see them. And this will be the first time we do this. So, you know, of course, we'll work out all the crimps and cramps in it as we move forward, but they'll be our first two to just try this out and see if we like it and see if it's a meaningful use of our time. We have a lot of other people scheduled, but if for any reason you guys think this is not valuable to your time, you let me know and we'll change it up and do something else. But I thought we would try this out at least for this next quarter and see what you guys think.
I like it.
Sound
Personally.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds,
yeah, sounds interesting.
Yeah. And I'll try to do some cool visuals and stuff like that. We'll see if we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we'll see you next week, August 8th. And then the week after that, we got to take a break because I'm going to be in Nebraska, but then we'll come back for a couple more after that. And if you want to do certain pairings, let me know. I will find different people with different stuff and put it on the schedule for you.
thank you. Thank you for keeping all this going.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
It was perfect.
I love you guys. You make me feel so good. Oh, you guys are awesome. Have a wonderful week.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.